I'm going to take you through step by step how I made this sine scrolling message. It's written in Java, so if you want to know how to do it, you can follow along in the video and make your own version of it. So keep watching and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so we'll do this in 3 stages. First, I'm going to make the simplest possible scrolling message in Java, and then I'll improve it, so I'll make it work on pixels rather than the first attempt, which we'll do based on substrings. And then in the 3rd stage, we'll add the sine wave. So I'm going to new project. I'm going to call it Sine Scrolly. And I think we should be able to fit everything in one class. So I'll just call this class Sine Scrolly. And we'll make the class extend JPanel, JFrame. So the class, the object itself will be the window. So it extends JFrame. And when we construct the class, I'll add a constructor. We'll set the properties of the frame. So set size, say 1000 by 800. And I'm going to set the location because I'm using a second monitor and I want it to be visible on the second monitor, which is the one you can see, and we'll set it visible. So we just create this Sine Scrolly, an object of the class Sine Scrolly, and we should see a window. And I'm also going to add a window listener just to shut down the application when we click it. Now, a window listener defines all these messages. A window adapter is a class which implements window listener but defines all the messages, so we can delete what we don't want to implement. And the message we want is window closing. So when the user closes a window, the system ends it with no return code. I've not done much, but I'm going to test this so far. So main method, public static void main string array args new Sine Scrolly. And we'll run that as a Java application. Okay, the window opens, we close. If we check the console, it's shut down, so that's fine. Right, so I'm going to add a label to the frame. It's only required in this class, so I'll make it private J label, and I'll call it Scrolly label. We're going to put the text in the label, add the label to the window. I'll construct it now. And put the label class, and I'll just add some text to it. Hello world, why not? Scrolly label set text. And I'll add Scrolly label to our frame. Now I think in the default layout it will just add the label will cover the whole frame. So let's just test that label's working. Hello world, that's fine. And then next I'm going to add the message for our scrolling message. So I'll just define a private string, or actually we could add it as a input parameter. So private string scrolly text, and here we'll pass it through. It's the constructor, and we'll call it here, and we could then in turn have it as one of these arguments so that we could run it, the command line pass in the text as an argument. But let me think, what can we say? Sine Scrolly message. This is our test message to test the Sine Scrolly Java. So this could say whatever we want. And then scrolly text, we'll save that. So I've called it exactly the same thing, the argument for the parameter and the variable. So this is something I commonly do, and then we can say this scrolly text equals scrolly text. So this one meaning this object. So this is this scrolly text, and this is this one. It's not happy with that for some reason. Did I spell it right? Still not happy. Oh, I've put scrolly label there. I must have used autocomplete. Okay, so, and we can set the, it's not really worth testing this, but I'll just set the label to the scrolly text and run. Yes, we want to save that. And there's our label with our message in it. Now I'll implement a thread which will actually take care of scrolling that message through the label. So I'm going to make this, because I'm just using one class for everything, I'm going to make this class implements runnable. I'm going to add the run method, and because it's a graphics thread, once I've constructed the class, I'm going to say swing utilities invoke later. So invoke and wait means run this in a separate thread, but do it and block. Invoke later means run it whenever there's a resource to do it, and it's not critical that that the scrolling message scrolls, so invoke later is the best one to do. And we want to invoke this, so it will run this method. And then what I'm going to do is in run, I'm going to do whatever we want to do to scroll the message, and then I'm going to thread sleep delay time. I'm going to define that as a parameter, so this will control the speed, because so I'm going to get this run method to run itself again at the end by running that again. And the delay time is going to be just how much time we delay between running this method. So that's going to be the speed. So private int delay time. And I don't know what to put. So let's say 50 milliseconds. So that's a 20th of a second. That's probably too fast, but we'll see. Thread sleep requires a try catch around it. I'm not sure what causes an interrupted exception in a thread sleep, but you have to do it. Okay, so we want to scroll our message. So let's think of what we want to do. So we want to set the label text to a substring of the message. So we'll start off with a counter. Put the variables at the top. Private int counter equals 0. And we'll set the label to the substring of that text, the substring of counter of that text, and then we'll increment counter. So counter plus plus will increment the counter. Scrolly label set text, scrolly text substring counter. But if counter equals scrolly text length, we'll set it back to 0. So in other words, once the message has gone off the screen, set counter back to 0, and we'll start again. So that's nearly there. I know this isn't going to be quite right. It's about the right speed. The message scrolls off and then starts again. The only thing we want to do, we want it to start on the right and move on to the screen from the right. And I'd also like to use a slightly bigger font. So in the constructor scrolly label set font, let's get the font. I think we can do font.derive, get font derive font. Int gives it style, float gives it size. So let's set it to 30. So we set the font to whatever it is, but a bigger version of it. And this is a bit simple, but we'll just add a load of spaces to the beginning. Maybe not too many, because we don't want to wait for too long. But let's see what that does. Okay, I didn't add nearly enough spaces. Right, let's add more spaces. Actually, this would be better if we did this in some controlled way. So let's get the font metrics and work out how wide a space is, and we'll add one space, the right number of spaces to get it off the edge. So can I do scrolly label, get graphics, get font metrics for scrolly label, get font. So private font metrics FM. I always call font metrics FM. FM equals that. So FM is the font metrics for this, the font being used in the label. So now we want to measure the width of the label and see how many spaces we can fit into that, and add a space at the beginning of the message for each one. So int label width equals scrolly label get width. space width equals fm get width, get string width. I think it gets string bounds. Let me just check how to do this. Okay, it's actually very easy. It's just string width, fm string width for a space. And then how many spaces do we need for label? So double label spaces equals label width divided by space width. And we'll add 1 just to make sure that we go to the next, and we'll cast it to an int. Just to make sure we half a space we get ourselves all the way out of the label. And then for ISS and label spaces, we're going to say scrolly text equals space plus scrolly text. So now when we run it, the message should start on the right hand side just after we run. Yeah, we have some problem. FM get graphics, maybe that doesn't exist until it's been added. Yeah. Okay, did we add the space to the end? Did that come back as 0? Okay, so that's less than 1, I think. Double label spaces. Just leave that as a double. I think that label width. No, I'm not sure what's happened there. Okay, so let's debug. So label width should be somewhere a little bit less than 1000. Label width is 984. Space width, how wide is a space? It's 8 characters. 984 divided by 8 plus 1. 124, so now we're going to add 124 spaces to scrolly text. I'm doing it to the parameter. Debugging is good because it just gets you to think about exactly what you're doing, and obviously if the program starts to flow in a way that you don't expect, or if one of these values is something you don't expect, you'll pretty quickly work out what's wrong. So I like the way the label is giving us 3 dots to tell us the message isn't fitting. We don't want that, but we'll get rid of that in the next step. The only thing is we don't want the text to originally be set in the label, so just get rid of the set text because it was flashing up, filling the screen before the scroller message started. So that's part 1, a simple scrolling message. The problem with this though is that it's stepping 1 character at a time, so it's not particularly smooth. So in the next part I'm going to smooth it out so it moves 1 pixel at a time. Okay, so how I'm going to do this, I'm going to make an image and I'm going to set the label to display an image icon with the image, and I'm going to draw the characters onto this image. Now we're going to start making our scrolling message move 1 pixel at a time. So I'm just going to define a private buffered image. I'll call it image because there's only going to be one image. And we will create it and make it the same size as the label. Image, what are we doing here? We can just do it down here. New buffered image. So scrolly label, this is the width, and then the height, and arg2 is image type, which is a type int RGB will do. Scrolly label get height buffered image type int RGB. 8-bit RGB. It doesn't really matter about the color. Okay, so in our method, get the image graphics. And we'll just fill a rectangle of our background color. Let's just scrolly label get background color. So this, I'm going to clear the image by saying graphics fill rect from x, y, width and height. So x, y, and then image get width and image dot get height. So now at the start of our thread, which is doing our scrolly, we're going to blank off this image. Whatever was on there, it's going to go. And now we set color to scrolly label get foreground. It should be black for drawing the text. And then we'll draw our text 1 character at a time. Now counter now is going to take a different meaning. It's going to be in pixels, so I'm going to rename counter to pixel x counter. And we're going to reset it when pixel x counter equals the width in pixels of our message. So we'll measure our message in pixels. Private int message x pixel count. So where we got our font metrics for a space, where did we do that? It was where we did string width. There. We still want to do the bit with adding the spaces at the beginning of the message. We also want to measure message x pixel count equals font metrics string width for the entire message, not forgetting to add this, so we're not doing it to the message before we added the spaces. And now if xCounter gets, if pixel xCounter is greater than the width of the message, set it back to 0. Okay, so now we're going to loop through our message one character at a time and we're going to draw the character onto the canvas. We'll do it one character at a time. We could just as easily do the whole message once we've decided the position. Actually, no, we'll do it the easy way then. So pixel counter, we want it to start, we want the X position that we're drawing to equal the width minus pixel counter, and then we'll draw the message there to the graphics, and then we'll take the graphics, the image, and put it on the label. So X position equals the width of the, what's this scrolly label set text? That's going to come, we're going to get rid of that. So the X position, we're going to start off as scrolly label dot get width minus pixel counter. So as pixel X counter moves up, we move across to the left. And now we're going to g.draw string our message scrolly text at xpos and ypos. We want that to be the center. So let's calculate the center ypos. Let's save it. The center ypos is going to be halfway down the label minus the half of the font height. Center ypos. So center ypos equals scrolly label get height over 2, and that would be halfway down, but we want half of the text, so the middle of the text is in the middle of the label. So minus fm dot get height over 2. And that's where we want to draw our message. Okay, so and then finally, once we've drawn onto our image, we want to say scrolly label set icon, new image icon, image, so that we're going to take the image, put it on the label. And I'm not sure if this is going to work, but let's try. No, nothing. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so I think the first thing I'll do is I'll forget about this position, and I'll just set the text in the image to be 0, 0. So if I just copy that line, or 10. Okay, I Don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to see if okay, so Sine Scrolly message. This is our message. Is that? So it did work. We've got loads of spaces at the beginning of the message. Do we still want that? Okay, so I'm starting off at drawing it at width, and then I'm subtracting. We don't want these spaces at the beginning. In case I change my mind, I'm just going to comment that out. Okay, so that's sort of what we expect. Okay, now let's try that again. Maybe I just didn't give the message long enough to come onto screen. Right, yeah, it's working. It's going slow, and we have not set the font for the graphics, and it's extremely slow. But let's get the font right first. So when we got the font, we want to set the graphics. We've done it for the label, so let's just get that font. G.set font, Scrolly label, get font. Okay, so that's good, but it's way too slow. But scrolling 1 pixel at a time, so let's speed it up. So we can speed it up by bringing this delay time down. So now we're going to sleep for 5 milliseconds, and it's still a bit slow, I'd say. Didn't seem to make that much difference. Let's move it a couple of pixels at a time. So instead of pixel counter plus plus, let's just do that again. No, I did prefer the smoothness before. The other problem we've got when we hit the edge, actually it's when the end of the message gets on the right. We're resetting, so we want to reset when the right hand side of the message gets to the left hand side of the screen. So let's work out how to do that. I'm going to put that back to 1 pixel at a time. If pixel counter is greater than the width of the message plus the width of the screen, I think we want to say. Scrolly label, get width. Then we reset it. I think that's it. So now the message starts off the right hand side, it moves across, and it should move across until it disappears off the left. And then it should start again from the right. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so for the next stage, instead of writing the whole message in one go, we're going to write it 1 character at a time, because we're going to want to, for the Sine Scrolly, we're going to want to control the Y position of individual characters. So instead of just doing drawstring Scrolly text X, I'm going to loop through the characters of the string, and I'm going to increase XPOS by the font metrics as we go through. So we're not going to do this drawstring, we're going to do for int I is naught, I is less than scrolly text dot length. So for each character, string character equals scrolly text dot substring I plus 1, so that C character is one character at a time in this loop. And we're going to say g.drawString, just that character at xpos, and ypos, and I'm going to define ypos pos equals center ypos. But just so we can see this working, I'm going to increment ypos by 1 each time, so we should get a diagonal message, and xpos plus equals, we still got the font metrics, fm dot string width of C. Now, just for efficiency, we only want to do this drawstring if xpos is on the screen. So let's go if xpos is greater than 0 minus fm get string width, but yeah. And xpos is less than the label width, then draw the string. So now we should see a diagonal message moving across the screen. It's only 1 pixel at a time, but that's exactly what we wanted. So now we just have to mess with this Y position and we can make our Sine Scroller complete. Let's check that it starts again. Yeah. Okay. So let's add the Sine Scroller bit to it. Okay, so for the Y position, I'm not going to increment it like that. What we're going to do is add math.sine, the X position divided by scrolly text get width. Scrolly text, scrolly label get width. So that should give us one sine wave across the screen. It wants that to be an integer. Now that's only going to give us a value between 0 and 1. So let's multiply it by, let's say 5. This is the height of the wave. So is that doing anything? That looks quite straight to me. Well, let's give it 50 then. X position times scrolly. We got the wrong way around. The width divided by X position. This is giving us a value less than 1, and I'm casting that to int. Let's keep it as it was. I want to cast the whole thing by an int because I'm casting that to an int and then multiplying it by 50, but because it's less than 1, it's coming out as 0 less than 50. No, that's still not working. I don't think I want the height of the wave to be 50, but I'm just... No, okay. Y pos plus label width divided by x. Well, let's just see what this is coming out with. System output 9. I'll be getting sensible values. We're getting 42 out. Yeah, isn't that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? What do I want to be doing there? Export. Cast expos to a double because I think make sure everything is being a double and not an int, because I think somewhere along the line I'm multiplying 0 by some value. Okay, that's worked. So that message is now climbing slightly. It's crushed when we got to divide by 0. Okay, we don't want to output that. I think the way round this should be is the width divided by x plus. So that's on its way down, now it's on its way back up, so we can, yeah, interesting. Okay, well what we want to multiply it is this side of the screen, we want to multiply it by 1, this side of the screen, we want to multiply it by 0. So let's have a think, how do we do that? Math.sine. This is multiplying the height of the wave. So I want to say the width of the screen divided by x pos. I think it was like the first time around, x pos divided by the width of the screen. I'm not going to get a divide by 0 because the width of the screen is always positive. Are we getting 1 complete? It's going down there. Okay, so we want more waves. We've got like half a wave in there now. So how are we going to do that? We can divide this value. Let's divide by 15. Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay, so I would say that it's scrolling, the wave height is too large, but I want to make the font a bit bigger, and then we'll see whether it looks better. So let's make the font double the size of the font. Let's see how that looks. Okay, the wave height is too much, and I would say the width of the waves are a little bit tight as well. But let's just take these and add and make them variables. So wave height and wave frequency, I suppose. Wave height. That goes with delay time, I suppose, as a parameter. Wave height equals, instead of 50, I'll try 30. And wave frequency, instead of 15, I try 10. Okay, it's working, but it does seem a bit slow. Right. Okay, I'm going to change the way the timer's working, because what we're doing at the minute is delaying by delay time. But the speed of the processing, it doesn't seem to be perfectly smoothly moving across the screen. It seems to speed up and slow down slightly. That, I think, is because the speed of the processing of the method itself might be varying slightly depending on system resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a date, private date t, and at the top of the method rather at the bottom in here, I'm going to say while new date is less than t.getTime plus delay time, just thread.sleep for 1 millisecond. So I'm comparing the time that we last run with the time now, rather than just delaying for a set time. I'm going to wait until the time is elapsed since the last time we ran this, because what I'm going to do here now is t equals, I'll reset it there. Let's just see what that does. Okay, I think it's made it run more smoothly. And there's one more thing to do. So at the moment the message is following the path. What we would like to do is move that path so that it's kind of the wave is moving. So So to do that, we just need to add something onto, make a variable called waver, make it a double, set it to 0, and we'll add it to the sine calculation, and after we've done a whole animation step, just increase it by some small value. Let's try 0.1. That we should probably have another wave speed. Oh, it's ridiculous. It doesn't look too bad actually, but it's a bit excessive. So we want that to increase by far less. 0.01. Have I like hit the sort of resonant frequency of the moving message? Yeah, obviously have. Let's try 0.02. Is that good? To me, the wave seems to be moving in the wrong direction, and it is a bit slow. Now it's a bit fast, or is the wave height too big? I don't know. I'm going to define this wave speed variable. Wave plus equals wave speed. I think I'm going to put it down a bit, say 5, and I'm going to put wave height down a bit, and I might increase the wave frequency a bit. So now really it's just a matter of playing around with these values. No, I've got an error here, wave speed. Private double wave speed, and I have been getting an exception in the init method all along. Null pointer exception. Really? I maybe that was just a console left behind from before that I didn't close. Okay, so that's looking reasonably good. Obviously, if you follow along with this, you might want to mess around with the parameters and see if you can improve the way it looks. But one thing I will do, just because I'm going to use this message to preview the video, so I'll make it look a bit better by colouring things in a bit. So let's try, how about yellow text on a red background? So I just need to set the fill rect that we're doing here, instead of scrolly, label get background. Let's fill it in red. Now I'm colourblind, so I don't know whether this is going to look as I want, or rather it may look as I want, but you might think it looks horrible. I'm going to write the text in colour .yellow. Let's try that. There we go. Maybe the red's a bit bright. And I'll just change the message to something to put in the introduction of this video, and then I'll travel back in time and make the introduction. So that's our scrolly message. So if you've enjoyed this, and if you've got any suggestions for any future videos that I could make, then leave your suggestions in the comments, or if you've got any questions about this, then leave it in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, then hit subscribe and give the video a like. So thanks for watching.